But a year and a half ago, when I was tasked with helping Tim revamp the high school program and figure out what a high school program needs, my first step was to go through the ones that were already in existence. There were a handful, and they're still those clubs are still in existence, which is fantastic. They've been around for a long time. So I reached out to each one of them, had a conversation with the club leaders, and that was when I first met Dan and Dan Engelhard. He is has this club that's has been around since 2010, since when it formed. I had so many questions for Dan, and he answered every single one of them back a year and a half ago or 2 years ago now, and it was a fantastic conversation. I knew then that Dan would be a vital resource in the success of the programs for a lot of other people to learn from him, and I really am excited to share, or for him to share what he's learned, not just with me now, but with everybody else in the years of having the HSTriClub in St. Louis. The club consistently has, I'm sure Daniel will go into the exact details of how many you average, but it's consistently the largest high school club in the country. And if we can just everybody take away some of the points, and if we can implement some of the things Dan does, I think every club will be better off for it. With that said, every club doesn't have to be the same. We've had Cherie as well, who spoke on what she's implemented. They can all look differently, which is fantastic, and it's going to be dependent on the area that the club's located and what the overall goal is. I know with Dan, it's all about improving people's lives, the kids' lives, and taking people that are either told they're not an athlete and having them do a triathlon for the first time, or developing them into a better athlete themselves. So without any more of me rambling on, Dan, I'll turn it over to you. And thank you so much for presenting today.
Okay, thank you, Chad and Tim, for the invite. So I got kind of an agenda here, and if the cursor goes, there we go. So here's the plan today, and I don't mind if you interrupt me. If you want to talk, I may pause you because we're coming up to that. But if you got questions on your mind, we don't have a huge audience. We got a good audience, but not huge. I don't mind it, and I got nothing to hold back on. There are a couple coaches on here with me that from our club that are helping out, and I'll probably maybe tap into them a little bit or make fun of them along the way. But first, we're going to talk about why I even started this thing. Okay, what's our mission? And recruiting, which all of us want to talk about. The program, what the mechanics of the program are, how I work with the events we do and race directors. We do the things called senior talks. We give back to the community as well, and then budget sponsors and interacting with parents, and then selling the HSTriClub. So we're going to kind of run through this, but stop me anytime. I don't mind. The first thing is, why did club start it? So this is why it started right here. This is my adopted son, Brian, and I coached him about every sport growing up, and he was not good at any of them. And to be quite honest, our church was going to do bike MS right there in the middle, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, you want to do this bike MS?" Absolutely. So we did it. And so during that ride, which is, as most of you probably know, he was in 7th grade at the time. It's 150 miles over 2 days. Got a lot of time to think. And when it's mostly adults doing it, but when we got to some rest stops, the kids that were there were like magnets. They found each other. They came out and said, "Wow, there's other kids like him." I mean, I played soccer through college, and him and a ball just didn't work out so well. And so he liked the bike ride. So we did this, and that's when the concept came to me about, hey, there's other kids like this that maybe aren't the traditional sports of football, soccer, baseball, and maybe we can start up a club around the high school and we start up, with the triathlon club. And so when we started, this was the original group. This was our original group back in 2010. This is how we started. And this ball guy right here, he is on the call. His name is Bill Lashesco. He's on the call with us today. I've had to fire him a couple times from his volunteer job, but we rehired him last year, and he's back helping. And this is his son that went through it, and this is my son here and here. So this is how we started, but you're going to see how it grew pretty quickly. Our first event, this was our uniforms. We didn't have any. My sister made up some shirts the night before, and they were horrible. But the kids wore them in the event, but that's what we started with in 2010. And you can see that's the crossing the finish line of a mini, a little triathlon here locally to Lake St. Louis. So after the first year, we started getting a little more formal. So came up with a mission statement, and this is our mission statement. Our mission is a nonprofit. So we are a nonprofit. So that's a little different than maybe a couple of you. And as Tim and Chad know, my focus isn't to trying to get Olympic triathletes. My focus is to get kids off the couch, off the bench, off of something, whatever they're not doing. And I'll give you some reasons why. But I'm just going to read this anyway. I know you guys can read, but our mission is a nonprofit organization that assists high school kids to live a healthy lifestyle for the rest of their lives. We do triathlons not to compete against each other, but rather feel the camaraderie of training, feeling better, and feeling fulfilled by crossing the finish line. As a by benefit of this club will help our healthcare crisis by preventive maintenance, a lot of doing. A little is better than a couple doing a lot. So this is not about competing with others. It's about competing with yourselves. So this became our after our first year, we kind of came up with this, and then our motto. You've already, Chad, you mentioned it on all our uniforms. Everything we do, it's you against you, not you against somebody else. We try to get these kids to improve themselves. And you can see up here, we're physical, mental, and spiritual, and we do this through the sport of triathlete. That's what we're trying to grow all the kids. Okay. And one of the first things we do before a lot of our events, before races, before training, all that, is we do say a prayer. I mean, we pray, we encourage them spiritually, and we try to encourage their growth and their walk in life. And that's just one thing here. I love this photo here. This is our girls in the event. They're singing the national anthem before event, and I'm pretty proud of that. This is my son after he got out of the military, and he did a triathlon in his fatigues. I can't say that was very intelligent, but he did. So this is some of the other reasons. If you look at this, was from Gatorade put out in 2017, but 70% of kids who participate in youth drop out by the age of 13. It's just horrible. By age 14, female athletes drop out of sports by 1.5 rate of males. And by age 17, more than half the girls quit playing sports. And this was another statistic out of the local paper back in 2013. 75% of kids who play sports in grade school do not play sports in high school. So that was my motivation, to get those kids. So I'm not trying to take the top athlete. Now we have kids in the program that are very good and they win. And we have kids crawling across the finish line and everywhere in between. Okay. And the other thing, which is I think more important, it's becoming more important, is the mental. Everybody's hearing about mental crisis, about mental state of kids today. And I think I'm preaching to the choir here with this group. But physically active kids, are less likely to be obese, go to college, higher self-esteem, there's all kinds of reasons. And so we've been focusing more and more on the mental health. And ironically, Bill's son, who I mentioned here, his son now is focused in this in life. And so he came back and spoke to the kids last year. He works with high school kids in a different area, not around St. Louis. But he came back and spent a day spoken to the kids about mental health and about improving that. It was very impactful for the kids because he was in the program. He knew what it was like sitting in those chairs. And now he's graduated from college, he's married, and et cetera. So we're focusing more on that now than we have in the past. Obviously, we get the physical. Okay. And this is a book I don't, if you guys aren't aware of it, I'm just making you aware of it. This was a book about kids and doing triathlons. It was relatively, I'm quoted in it multiple times. Some of our kids are quoted in it. He interviewed many of our kids. This William did. He's out of Florida. He's a professor there. And so it's just a book you may want to, give to parents that are encouraging them, or even yourself to read. And it's a very good read about the benefits, again, of getting kids involved with the sport of triathlon. Okay. All right. So 2010, this was our group in 2011. My point here, it didn't take long to grow the group to this many right here. So I know a lot of you are starting out and you're brand new to starting up a club. We went from 1 year to 2 years and expanded, doubled, more than doubled. I don't even know how many are here, but so, and a lot of that was by word of mouth. So in 1 year, we developed a program, we got a little more formal, and we took a little more serious. And this is what happened. We actually got real uniforms, and then the club kind of took off from there. Okay. And again, if you have any questions, let me know.
Dan, real quick question. Are
Yeah.
you clothing these kids? Is you getting raising
Yeah.
sponsor dollars to clothe the kids, or how are you doing that? Because it
Yeah.
looks awesome. It's a
Yeah.
great photo.
So the kids pay a registration fee, but we have sponsors, and I'm going to touch on the sponsors a little bit more. But absolutely, the sponsors. If it wasn't for sponsors, this club would not exist, and the sponsors help us grow, and yeah, and we outfit the kids. They get this pullover here, this orange pullover that I have on right now. If you see me on the screen, the uniform they don't get to keep. That is we just share that with them, and then we take them back because they're expensive, as you know. But
Yep.
they get a T-shirt to keep, and they get a little pullover zip. And to be quiet, the reason, I mean, I'm all about the orange, like I said, and the reason for the orange, it's yeah. First, I like the color orange. I'm not going to deny that. However, when we're on the streets, we're training, we're doing stuff. It's visible. It's out, for cars, for people see it, and it's also a safety reason. To be quite honest, is why we do it. So we go to training when we're outside. Everybody's supposed to have their orange on for visibility. Okay, I don't know if that answered your question, but I'll get into the sponsorships in a little bit more. Okay, and I just want to point out, even we've had a lot of guest speakers come and talk to the kids. This one was Sarah Haskin. If you know her, she was USA's 2012 Triathlete of the Year. She was on our Olympic team. That is Sarah right there, and she spoke to our group. And we've had a lot of different people come and speak to our group through the years. Okay, and by now we even stepped it up. And we got a mascot. So this little guy, when we did training, this is Calvin. He would swim the lake with us. He'd run with us. Wasn't too good on the bike yet, but he was out there in the middle of all of us anytime we're in the lake. Okay. Okay. So there is why the club existed. Okay, that's why we got started, and that's what motivated the coaches, and some of them are on the call with us right here. Now I was going to just kind of through a step through a year. This is how we start the program and the mechanics of what we do through the course of a season. And we're right in the middle of our season. We just kicked off. And a lot of these slides I'm going to show you were just presented 2 weeks ago. A week ago Sunday is when we kicked off the program for this year. And you're going to see what we present to the kids, the parents, and then and the program and the mechanics of how it works. So the first thing we do, we have a New Year's Eve hike, and we have a party after that. So that's just to get the kids back out, get them going, reconnected, and for them to tell others and start reconnecting and them encouraging them to, you're always selling in this. I'm always encouraging others, always reaching out and trying to make the kids to bring a friend. So that's the first thing we do. We have a New Year's Eve hike in the morning. Kids go home, and that evening they get to have a New Year's Eve party. Then we have a parents meeting. This is just a sample of what one was in 2013. All of them look very similar to this. The weekend before the Super Bowl, there's no football. That Sunday, we have our parents meeting, or excuse me, we have our parents, we used to call it parents meeting, now we have a planning meeting. The kids and the parents all come, and we plan out the year. We look for improvements. And this is just showing, the detail of what we do this year, kind of shows the budget, kind of reviews 2012, what happened there. This year, we lost a sponsor, THF Realty. This kind of shows the money we had, et cetera, and we kind of go through that. Okay, and then we pick out the plan. And this is 2024. We just had this in February 4th, again, the weekend before Super Bowl. And we had a long agenda we went through, and this is the results, the feedback, and what we're going to do this year. It kind of just steps through where we're headed and what the plans are. And we also pick out our events and our program for the year. Okay, and this just kind of goes through our, the Buddy says about rides and other things that we do. Okay. And then after this, we develop a promotional flyer. So this was our promotional flyer in 2011. Okay, I'm just going to show you a couple of them here. Just kind of talks about the program, the events we're going to do, et cetera. After that, we kind of bumped it up a little bit. This was 2012. This was our 2012 flyer. Now, what I wanted to point out here, many of you have mentioned about high schools. So this flyer, and I used this template for a couple of years in a row. And these are all the high schools in our local area. And this is back in 2012, I went to all the athletic directors and met with them and encouraged them to get kids. That did not work out for me at all. I was unsuccessful getting athletic directors, getting high schools to get motivated to reference to promote a high school triathlon program outside of the school environment. So that was Dan's experience in 2012. I did it, maybe tried it a couple years again, and it did not work for me at all. What worked for me and on our group was going to church youth groups and also going to the homeschool community. A lot of those kids didn't have an outlet, and that that avenue was much more successful than going to high schools. Okay, and again, for questions, I have absolutely nothing to hide on this. This is not a money maker for me. We don't make money. I know some of you are probably in it for profit. Just my thing, it's not for profit, so I have nothing to hide here. So, and any questions here? Because this is I think a lot of you thinking, let's go to high schools and get them. I wasn't successful. Maybe some of you are being successful, but after the first couple of years of trying it, I just gave it up and haven't gone back.
Dan, real quick. So this flyer that you then started giving to the kids from church and these schools, the homeschools, right? Same flyer?
Yep.
Okay.
Church, homeschools. I gave them to high schools too, but they didn't do anything with them, to be honest.
Dan,
So-
Dan, question on you. At this point in time, 2012, 2 years, a third year, starting your third year, what resources and support staff did you have? Was this all you? Did you design this flyer? Did you get parents involved, that kids you were coaching? How did you build your support team?
Yeah, at this time, it was kind of all me, to be quite honest. I had people to help coach, but all the promotional, all the background, all the behind the scenes stuff, no. Bill, who's on the call here, and I think, others, they help with the training, but not so much on this stuff. This was me. I just came up with this again, playing up the orange.
What would be your little elevator pitch when you approach someone real quick?
Well, it's right here. I mean, it was really about just the benefit. I mean, here, the growth of the sport back and then, 28.7% of Missouri high school students are overweight, and getting kids. My motivation was schools are getting so large at high schools. There's 500 people. How many basketball teams are there? There's still one senior. How many kids play at a time? 5. So you got tons of kids going to high schools that they played sports forever, but then to make the high school team, it was really hard. I mean, it was very competitive. And then there's absolutely no rec in high school that I'm aware of. So unlike 8th grade and below, that's why I focus on high school kids. And my motivation was, we got to get these kids doing something, or they're going to get out to, they're going to be smoking, drinking. They're going to find something to occupy their time. Because if you go outside of the high school, then you go to competitive teams or competitive, and then the bar goes up. It doesn't get easier; it gets harder. So less kids are even participating outside of the high school. High school becomes the lowest denominator for to make a team. So that was. I don't know if I answered your question. That was kind of the pitch to parents, to churches, and to use to other people to help benefit them. Good? Makes sense?
Yep.
All right. Keep with the questions. Don't hesitate to stop me.
Oh, quick. Hey, real quick, Dan, real quick.
Yeah.
So the churches, would you also kind of, work with the youth pastor to just kind of give them the picture too and say, hey, keep an, look out.
I did. I would pass it on to youth pastors. And sometimes, like this year, I went to a church and spoke to their youth group with kids. Some of the current kids joined me. And I would ask the youth pastors to pass it to other youth pastors and, pass it around, take this flyer and pass it around. And, we didn't get the masses, but, a couple more kids may just, may show up and try it out. And the key with this kickoff, we always had a major kickoff and a presenter, and it was kind of a big deal for kickoff. You're not signing up. You're coming to check out the program. Check it out for a week and see if you like it. If you don't like it, don't come back. No big deal. It doesn't cost you anything. So it was really just to get them in the door. Kids are extremely intimidated by triathlon. So we got to lower the bar. This is easy. It's a sprint triathlon. It's a small, tiny, because people think triathlons when they go straight to Ironmans and things like that. So we got to really tone it down and not we don't want, again, I'm going after the non-type A personality type kids, not the rah, 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 go, go, go type kids. Although I get those, but that's not really my focus is. Good. Any more questions? Keep them coming. Okay. So this was the flyer I used for many years. And then this is this year's flyer. And what I wanted to point out on this one, as this evolved, I started going to some of the bicycle shops. I mentioned this on a call earlier, but so MSE is a racing team, and the 40K cycles, this is swim, bike, run cycles, this is Big Shark cycles, some of the bike shops. Now they're not actually sponsoring the club. They don't give me any money, but they're a conduit for donations. People donate gear, bikes, etc. But then they also are a conduit. They'll take this flyer and they send it out to on their marketing advertisements. So they send us out. I put this on there, so it looks like they're helping a high school club, makes them feel good, look good. And so I use the bike shops to market this as well. And I've been doing this for the last couple of years. And I tell you, the benefit was, yes, getting some kids and getting more exposure, but the other benefit was getting donations and people sponsoring. There's, I forget who brought up the sponsoring call, but some of them said, man, I like to help that club out. And they talk to 40K Cycles, they get in touch with me and they could help sponsor the club or donate equipment, donate material or something like that. Okay. And if you notice on all these flyers, not an athlete, no problem. Really tone it down. You could be a couch potato, no big deal. You cannot have run, you haven't ran, 100 yards in 2 years. That's okay. We're going to work through it. Okay. Now this gets into some of the donations and etc. So this is just kind of the money budgeting for 2011. I kind of highlighted here. Back then, I was writing for a lot of grants, and I was not only with the donations, but I was also getting grants from like the USAT. I was getting 750 that year. I got $750, and then some others. I was writing for grants to many different places. Those for me recently, the last 5 or so years, at least right around COVID and before, those have all dried up. So I'm not getting any grants anymore. But I was, and that helped me keep the club going. And it just shows kind of our expenses and costs. And I'm going to do a more elaborate budget here in a moment as we go on. But I'm just showing you, this is kind of where we started from 11, and we don't get these grants anymore, but we did back then. And they were hugely beneficial.
Question real quick, Dan, more for Tim. Tim, is there a grant program for this high school program that you have created, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, through USA Triathlon, we're still offering that because it's a youth-based ask, right? And so we have the 3 pillars that we support within the foundation: para, aspiring elites, and youth. So those grant funds are still available.
And then just for the coaching community here, Dan, Brian, and the rest, I mean, what are we looking at here? I mean, $750 is not a small chunk of change. It's not huge, but it's not small either. What are we looking at for someone like me that's trying to get a program launched out here in the Reno Tahoe area? What are we looking at?
As far as what kind of grant level it might be ascertained through a submission, what they're doing is, because we have a corpus of money that we have here, and we have X number of submissions, and there might be, if there's fewer submissions, your chance of getting more is greater. If there are a lot more submissions, your chance of getting that much is less. And so it's all based on how you position it, what exactly the use of those particular funds are going to be for. They will prioritize it based on that, and then they will pay accordingly. Most of the donations are not going to exceed $2,000, $2,500 anymore, because there are so many that we're actually getting.
Yeah, it makes sense. Appreciate it. Hopefully all the coaches forget about me asking this call and forget to submit a grant so I can get more money, but highly unlikely. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I know the grant, the grants are still out there. I just not been getting, and because I'm established and I was a benefactor of the grants for many, many years. Like, okay, Dan, you're good to go. Let's start with some of the newer clubs, which makes sense. Okay, so that's the budgeting. We're still, so during our planning meeting, then we come up with our schedule for the year. I mean, our program, what events we're going to do. So this is it for this year. You'll see 24. So we actually have, we call it shoe day, but now it's shoe month, where we have a local shoe store. It gives us 15% discount. Get the kids there, they get measured up, get them in nice shoes. We have 2 doctors that come in and we do a foam rolling day, teach the kids, I'm all about preventative injury, try to be preventative. If I don't do it for myself, but I do it for the kids. In March 22nd, we're going to have a party. The kids, they ask for this. They want to have a little get together, social. They bring their friends to it. Again, another way, another outreach. I'll get into this a little bit more. We have a bike day. So we have a lot of bikes in the club now. I've retained over the years. And so the kids, I loan out bikes to them. It doesn't cost them anything. They just get to use the bike and return it. We have on Easter weekend, Sunday's our big training day. On Easter, we don't have training because of Easter. So we have a babbler ride. It's a hilly ride. So that's just a different thing. We have then we have uniform day. That's on April 5th. And then we'll have a mental health day that hasn't scheduled yet. But we're still working on that. And then we'll have race day simulations and this is the big events. And then we have our first event May 4th. Then we have our second event May 19th. And we have our next event in Innsbruck June 8th. And then we have one last event down here June 13th, and couldn't get it all. But if you notice, we have a party here. There's a social. So again, this is parents doing this. So this is not me. They're putting on this party here. I help out a little bit, but this party here, the parents and the kids are doing it. They're doing this amongst themselves. I'm purely about the training. Okay.
Right.
So that's it.
Quick question, in the front of the shoe days and all those things, those are all happening at the YMCA location?
Yes. I'm sorry, ask the question. Where do we do the training?
No, I mean, are these gatherings, are they happening at the YMCA and are they all?
No. No,
okay.
all the training is at the YMCA, and our planning meeting and our training is there in the beginning. For the first 2 months, for April and for March and April. Then we're outside the rest of the time. But no, these parties are this one's at the soccer barn. You can see here. This is at down here. This one here toward the end of the year is at somebody's house. Okay, so they put it on. So the soccer barn's in a establishment that they can play and have fun. They can play all. You don't have to play soccer. You can do anything you want there. It's just an open facility. We rent for the night. Okay. Keep the questions coming. If you got anything you're hesitant, what they say, no such thing as a dumb question. So
this whole schedule's all done on the front end. Now everybody gets it, so they see the big picture, or is it evolving and growing as it goes?
No, we do this at the planning meeting on 2/4. Whoever comes to the planning meeting, they choose what events we do and what we're going to do that year, because these events change every year. But at that 2/4, this year it was 2/4. That planning meeting, that's when we lock it in for the year.
And you're working close with the race directors too to make sure they're having high school podiums and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, only on this one. So if you see here, we work with the race director. You can see our discount codes. We get like 30% discount for this event. Here, they've embedded the discount. You can see for the high school sprint division, it's $75. Look what it is for everybody else. But we get that. This particular event, we only have one event, and I'm going to explain it to you a bit more later. We have one event, we call it JCB, and I'm going to explain it at length, and I'll explain it in a moment. And that's the one where we have the high school podium and we give out awards. We give out awards, a nice award to all high school participants. We give medals in that for the winners, for the men, the girls, and the boys. But what we've done over the years, they might get a very nice helmet. We've given out this hat I have on was last year's, a very nice hat. These are $30, $40 hats. We've given out race bags, like it's a little cooler that you can sit on, you can backpack, and they've gotten those. Every high school kid gets one, not the participants in the rest of the race, just the high school. So we set this up before the awards ceremony happens. We have our own awards ceremony only at this event. Only at this event. The other events, they have youth and they have kids, but we don't. It's not us putting it on. We just participate in their awards ceremony. But we pick one race every year that we focus on the high school, and we call it JCB. And this year, it's going to be at the St. Louis Triathlon in Creve Coeur Lake, $75.
Okay, that combine collegiate one, are you like working with, are you in conversation with the athletic director of that college as well? Or is that
I'm not, I am not, I'm working through the race director on that one, and they're bringing those people there. That was not me. That was the race director. But we're going to have some of our girls and participate in that and meet with them.
Yeah, not to get too much in the weeds here, but just a quick question on how you have this laid out. So the St. Louis Triathlon, there's a pretty significant price difference here. So are you trying to push all your athletes to do the high school sprint, which is only $75, which is the full triathlon? Because then you jump up in the other events that are listed there. Those look like adult rates.
There.
Is that correct?
Yeah. My focus is I train the kids to do a sprint, not a super sprint, not Olympic sprint. Now, do kids do a super sprint? Maybe. Do kids want to do Olympic? Yes, they do it. I don't encourage it. Well, I don't encourage Olympic at all, or even longer, because they just feel macho if they do it. I highly refrain from them doing it, but we don't train for that distance. We train for the sprint distance.
Yeah. So just to add to that, I'm assuming those the kids, or I should say the kids' parents, they're picking up the cost of that registration.
They are.
Yeah. Okay. So if one of your kids is more advanced, they want to do the Olympic distance, their parents are paying $135.
They are.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just trying to understand your spreadsheet.
Yep. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. If this is not clear, please ask. And we do have scholarships, and I'll show. Let me get to that in a second. Okay. So speaking of the JCB, so I'm just gonna, since his dad's here, I'm gonna mention I had this set up anyway before. I didn't know Mr. Paul Brandt's on the phone, but this is what we do. JCB is John C. Brandt. It's this guy right here. He was in our club. Unfortunately, he was on a ride with another buddy. They were doing a century ride for fun, and he got hit by a car, and he passed away. So we are going into our 7th annual JCB on May 19th. So we do this in honor of him, and that's why we call it JCB. Those are his initials. So that's kind of a big deal for us, and we give out an event. That's where we give out an award, and it's honor of him, and we have JCB all over everything. Even the race directors will put JCB on the racing bibs, and we have. I'll show you a banner here in a second. So that's it. Paul, you have any comments since you're happening? Paul is you guys might know Paul because he goes around the country, and he's one of the USAT top officials. So, Paul, if you want to chime in here, you might want to. If you don't, that's fine. All right, he's gonna be quiet. Okay, so that's my race helmet right there, but we do this, so that's kind of a motivation. This is our 7th year. The kids are in the program now, don't know John, don't really know it, but we're trying to keep that memory alive. Okay, this was our first JCB. So you can see in the background here, that's a banner, and you can see the Missouri High School. You can see the JCB in our logo. We changed it to honor him. And then you can see the high school triathlon program. So this was our first high school event that we pulled off in 2018. Okay. And we've done it every year since. Okay. And this one here was I'm just highlighting this one again. You can see the event, but this one here, we did this during COVID. Everything was shut down. So we put on our own triathlon that year. So we put it on. I found a lake that would allow me to use it, a neighborhood that allowed me to use it, and a run. And so we put it. That's what we did that year. And again, there's the banner representing JCB. So we still had JCB during COVID. Okay. And yes, that was the prayer on that. And then we had a new mascot here. He did the race with us as well. Okay.
Question: are most of these kids from the church?
They're a variety. No, I mean, some from church, some are from high schools. They come from all around. Okay.
Actually, to add to that, Dan, how many high schools in St. Louis metropolitan area are you representing with the team? Just out of curiosity.
So we live in St. Charles, which is west of St. Louis. I mean, we're in the St. Louis area. So that's the high schools that we represent, and that's where most of the kids come from. We do have some kids that come from the over the cross. There's a Missouri River, if you're familiar with St. Louis at all, and that's where predominantly 90% of the kids come from, and that represents about 7 or so 8 high schools in the St. Charles community, and then we get some kids come over across the river from St. Louis as well. Okay. So this is a registration form, and what we're putting here, scholarship. If there's a kid that needs help financially, there's no kid that's not going to do a triathlon or be part of this club because of money. So they just check the box, done. I've worked it out with even the race directors now. If there's a scholarship kid, if there's a financial situation, they comp their entry fee into the race, or I'll pay for it. But most of the time they just comp it. They'll just give a free race if we have a scholarship kid. So the race directors are, I mean, if you talk to them and there's a financial situation going on, at least the race directors that I've come to know over the years, are very open to that. So this is our registration form that we fill out, but you can see it's $100 a kid, and your second kid's $50, and third kid $25, and that's what you get. I understand it's pretty cheap. We don't charge a whole lot for the program, but because we got sponsors. Questions about that?
Yeah, just what does the $100 include? Because I know you're clothing them to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
So what does that include?
Our biggest expense is the YMCA. So it cost me about $4,000 a year to rent because I rent the pool, I rent the spin room, and I rent a core room. We do core on Sundays, and we do swim on Sundays, and we vary. I'm going to show you the program here in a moment. That's our biggest expense. Uniforms, like this year, I did buy $3,000 worth of new uniforms because other ones were kind of wearing out, ready. So that's our biggest expenses right there. And I'll show you the budget here in a moment. Okay. Comments? Anything else? Carrying on. All the kids will become a USA team member. We're insured, so I make them all. You guys are all supportive of that, so I don't need to get into that too much. This shows we're a club, we're a USA club, and we got insurance. So you guys, I don't think we need to spend any time on that. I just let all the parents know that, if you become a USA member, you're part of our club, boom, you're insured if something would happen. Never had an accident, never had a claim, but just in case something might happen. And they get this gear here. As you can see, we got you against you on everything. And they get a pullover there. And now parents want the gear as well, and which is great. We just they have to pay for it. Okay. To get the kids communicating, I do nothing with this. This is them. They're all on GroupMe. So text is out, emails out. You guys, I don't know what age you guys are, but the thing that the kids love is GroupMe. So they are all, and I am not even on it. I have no idea what they're doing, which it's great, but that's how they all communicate and coordinate and amongst each other about who's going where, etc. So if you're not using GroupMe, I think that's been a huge success for them to collaborate amongst themselves and let them build some camaraderie, and no adults on there, just for the kids.
Okay. No adults, it's just their own thing. Okay.
Yeah, no adults. I don't want any adults on it. I just want the kids on it. And they monitor it, and usually somebody will kind of step up and be the leader of the group, and as that person graduates, somebody else will just naturally just kind of steps in.
Is there like a student leadership that you're kind of assigning in an informal way or formal way, or a captain?
Nope, it's purely informal. Yep, no leadership at all. The only leadership, I'll show you this here in a moment, is so this is our training. So this is this year, and on Sundays, kids arrive at 1:45. We warm up, get ready. We run for about a half an hour. We don't run. I mean, we do go run, but it's more about doing drills, doing run drills, doing A skip, B skips. We're doing, mid-foot strikes. We're working on form. We're working on technique, and we're doing different things. So it's more about that as opposed to just, okay, go run for 30 minutes. Then the boys will swim. The girls are in the core class. I find very particular about core because, strengthen them. This is about injury prevention. and then we flip flop them. Then the girls go to swim and the boys go to core class. So again, I rent the pool, I rent the core room. So I pay for that, it's expenses. Through the week, I rent the bike, a bike room. And so we have a session tonight, Tuesday night, we have a session tonight at 7 p.m. From 7:45. And there's a swim optional, and then from 8 to 8:45. So we have 2 bike sessions tonight, 1 bike session on Wednesday, and 2 bike sessions on Thursdays.
With the YMCA, right?
This is all at the YMCA right now, yes.
And spin bikes or there's spin room or something.
Yep. I'm going to show it to you here in a minute. So that's, and then as the first week we didn't do it, but then we'll start running after we'll do some spin. This is at night. There's a school across the street, and we kind of run around their parking lot. It's empty at night. And then we go over there and we'll start doing some bricks and, going from the bike to run. And these swims they go in the pool and swim. We have a coach up there, Jackie, and she comes up, volunteers her time to spend Tuesdays and Thursdays up there and help with swim instruction as well. But this is more about swimming on their own and getting some distance in. On Sundays is more instructional. Okay, and this is all on our website too, if you haven't been to our website. Okay.
Can you talk just what's the participation numbers? Because it's interesting you have 2 different bike sessions. Is that because some kids just can't make 7 p.m. or what's going on with that? Why 2 separate bike sessions?
Well, you're teeing it up. Good question. First is right here. You couldn't have been. There's only 18 bikes. We max them out. So this is tonight. So 3:12 tonight. What I use is Sign Up Genius, and so they go on and sign up. Right now, tonight, in the 7 o'clock session, 18 bikes are filled. We're maxed out. So 6 people are signed up for the second session. And what we do is we allow parents, any parent that wants to join us is more than welcome, as long as they, sit in the back and, they don't take a kid's bike. So that's the reason for the 2 sessions. Trust me, I would love to have like 30 bikes in there so we didn't have to have 2 sessions, but that's what we got to do.
And the kids, they don't all have to be Y members, right?
They don't. The only thing they have to be Y members for is to go if they want to swim on their own and go do the swimming where I don't rent the pool because that's expensive to rent. They don't have to be members. What I've worked out with the Y is the YMCA charges $21 a month for the kids to join for 2 months for March and April. And and then after that, we're all outside. So they cost them $41. Again, if it's a scholarship issue, then I pay for it. So we get them to join if they want, if they're going to use it. If they're not going to use it, you don't have to join.
Okay, and then all the monies for all these practice sessions and things at the facility, it's all from part in the budget, fees, grants, all that kind of stuff.
It is. I pay. They don't pay any. This is all me paying. I pay whatever. I lay this out with the Y early, and I pay I think it was $3,800 this year, and then I have all this.
Hey, Dan, any issues with the late scheduled time, knowing kids and getting to bed and getting homework done and some of those things?
Not really. And that's not really been an issue. The biggest issue is, I tell you, the biggest issue, conflict schedule-wise, is some people, I've had some kids not participate on Sundays because of religious reasons. They cannot train or will not train, or they say, because the events are on Sunday and our big training day on Sunday. But the evening activities, no. We had that foam rolling class is going to go next Tuesday, and it's after our second session. So we'll spin till 8:45, and everybody shows up. Well, I'll have an entire gymnasium full of people, and we'll go from 9 to 10 and do an hour of foam rolling.
Wow.
No, nobody's really pushed back on the late hour. Okay. Again, keep the questions coming. I'm going to carry on. I will show. Whoop, I didn't want to go there. So, for 14 years of our 15-year existence, our spin class was in a closet, literally a closet. That's where the bikes were. This year, this is a picture from last week. The YMCA just built a new spin studio. So now we got a cool place to spin. So I just thought FYI. So we literally were in the closet, without a doubt. And it was a hole in the wall. Pipes are in there and everything. It was horrible. But this year we got the spin class. So that's from last week.
Do those spin bikes, do they have power watts?
They do.
Oh, okay.
They got a little, If you can see it right there by that water bottle.
Is
Yeah,
that
these
the,
are spinables, and they do have watts on them, and they got RPMs as well. So we train by that.
is that the spinning brand?
It's a spinnable.
Yeah, the brand is called Spinner, the spinning.
Spinnerville, it's called Spinnerville brand.
Spinner Vols, yeah, that's what these are called.
Pretty big brand.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see it over here. But Spinnerbles is what it is. Okay. Just something I mean, we got lucky. That just happened this year. Now this is another group. This has nothing to do with me. A group puts on time trials on Wednesday nights and for adults, but they let juniors, which we're considered, they let our kids come out there if they want to and ride. Very safe environment on the road, and they can ride some. I don't do this. I just tell our kids about it. If they want to go out there on a Wednesday night and ride, they're free. They can go, but just networking through the company, and they welcome our group out there, and that begins in mid-April. When the weather gets a little nicer. Okay, I require all the kids to join Strava so we can keep track of them. They join our club, so we have a club on Strava, and that's just a way for me tracking their activities, etc. Well, that's just what we do there. I'm sure all of you are on Strava. If I'm not, I would doubt if you're not. This is our kickoff. I'm just showing you on the kickoff's kind of a big day for us, and but look at the help we got. I got 4 coaches out there helping out with this. But what I want to point out here is a lot of the kids that were in the program when they were in high school, they went to college, they're back home. They're called mentors now, and a lot of them are coming back out to help us and to help benefit us. So all of these kids are mentors. This here, Logan, Andrew, mentors. They're in college or out of college and have come back to help as a mentor. And I've become references for them that use it to their advantage. So this is our fleet of bikes. So this has been accumulated over many years. So the kids, every bike has orange handlebar tape. That way I know they're mine. And the club owns them, and we just loan them out to kids that need a bike. So we've accumulated this. They're at a 40K cycles at a cycle place, and we have a bike day. They come in, they get in. The bike place charges us materials, but doesn't charge us anything, for labor.
So they're storing the bikes for you, and are they charging you for storage, or how does that work?
Right now in the complex where they're at, this is an empty storage. So right now it's free.
Nice.
And we're using it as long as we can.
Yeah.
How long this is going to last, I do not know. But right now it's fantastic. So he has some of his bikes in the back room as well. They're stored there, just a vacant, but somebody takes it over, then I got to go to plant. Then I have to find a spot for them.
Very cool. Dan, real quick, can you go back to the previous slide? I just wanted to ask you a question. What does the right side flow mean? The boys, girls balance. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. On kickoff day, we have the boys go swim, then we have the girls do a spin. We just shows them, and then the balance. I'll take a balance of what's left over. If there's too many, I'll do that. That was the balance of boys and girls, and just show them the rotation, and then they go to core. So during that first day, this is because a lot of the new kids are there, don't know what they're doing, and this is we didn't have time this year because we had some challenges with the scheduling with the Y, but normally we have 4 stations. So on kickoff day, we have a big kickoff for an hour meeting, present the whole program, and the kids go to 4 stations that day. And normally we'd have 2 girls and 2 boys, but it didn't work out. And they'll swim, bike, they'll do core and run. And we're there, and you can see right here, we start at 2:30, 3:15, and 4. Normally we start earlier, but we weren't allowed to do that. So that's all that is, just so the kids know what they're doing.
Hey,
Okay?
Dan, real quick, you have a host of people have stepped up to help you manage these various levels of workouts. Are these people that became your coaches but weren't necessarily like coach certified with USA Triathlon? They stepped up. Was it parents, people you know in the community? Where did you recruit these kids or parents to actually come in or coach to come in and help?
Yeah, and if Bill if he's still here, I'm not sure who else is still here, but Bill, if you're here, all the coaches have been parents of kids. But what's been great is Bill and Jackie, I don't know if she's here or not, but their kids have long gone from the program, and they're still helping out. So again, I had to fire Bill a couple times, but we rehired him, and so that has worked out I mean, they're giving their time free of charge to do this. And now we're getting the mentors. Bill, are you there? I don't know if you're there or not.
He's on. He's showing he's there. Paul was not there earlier, just so you know, but Bill is showing there, but he's a solid mute.
He's a mute. Okay, fine. So and Josh is here. Josh, if you want to speak up, Josh is new. Josh and his wife just became USAT certified in the fall, and so they're helping out this year, and which is wonderful. Josh, are you offline? I'll let you say something if you want to take the mic.
Yeah, we're here. Katie and I are both here. We're
Yeah.
watching this presentation, and you're doing a great job for us. As far as coaching goes, we were involved, and we both like to be outside. Katie's a big runner, and I like to ride bikes, and so it just made sense. We have a couple of kids in the club, and we were going to spend all our time there anyway, so we thought we'd jump in and help.
That's awesome. One of the things that I found hard, we live in Monument, right, in Colorado, and we're about 20 minutes to the north of Colorado Springs. In 3 months' time, we lost 3 coaches who said, "Oh, it's a lot longer drive than I thought it would be to get to the practices." And I've been befuddled by that, but it's kind of what we're going through. So I was just curious about whether these were parents that actually decided to help and have been huge contributors to your program, Dan.
Yeah, and just for Katie and Josh who are on the call, they both got their USA certifications this fall. So
Awesome.
This is the first year they're really formally involved with the program. They got 2 kids in the program, which are great.
It's awesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, that's that. And this is just for fun. I always had the kids do a senior talk. So after they graduate from the program, they got to come back and I put some funny photos of them. And this is just one girl. I got all kinds of them from the years, but they have to come up and it forces them to speak in front of people, which is, can be pretty daunting. So anyway, this is one. This boy here just spoke last week or a week ago, Sunday. This boy went to college on, I don't know, I brought him, he went to college on a cycling scholarship. So he took it to the next level. He's doing great. He's a great cyclist. And the other one I want to point out here, here's a boy, Gabriel. He's been with us 7 years. And you can probably tell Gabriel has Down syndrome, but he's been in our program 7 years. And we work with it and it works fine. Gabriel, a year ago right now on St. Patrick's Day in 2023, Gabriel spoke at the UN on his high school triathlon program and doing triathlons and showing the UN the benefits of somebody with Down syndrome and can do athletic things like this. So he's been written up in papers. He's been all over the place. He's been a great testament, and he's in his 7th year with our program, and the kids just rally around him. It's fantastic. Okay. Yeah, we did the You Against You. This is one thing that everybody has to get also is a tattoo after they get out of the program. So everybody has to put a You Against You tattoo on them. Okay, so that's some people might have a problem with that, but that's just part of the program. That is a joke. Okay, I'm just some kids did do that, but I do not encourage it at all. Okay, I was just trying to break the ice. Okay, the other thing we do is we give back. So our club goes back and we help disabled people 3 times a year. This is the lake that we train in, that we swim in all the time, and we help. They couldn't have this program without us. I'm not going into details, but it's disabled people that we help and learn how to ski and be able to do events like this, and it's worked out wonderful for us and them. Sometimes we're there with 60 kids and we're pulling them out of wheelchairs. We're putting them on apparatus and tubes and stuff. So that's our give back. We used to help with autistic kids learn how to ride bikes, lose the wheels. We used to run behind them, but they moved that program too far away from us. So I was looking for something else, and we started this up. And so our group, they call us the Orange Army, because without our group, this event would not happen. So this is our give back. Okay. And I know we're coming up on time. This is the budget someone was asking about. So this is this year. Okay. Sponsors. I've been extremely unsuccessful with going to corporations or big people or big companies to get sponsorship. I've tried many times unsuccessfully. The sponsorships that I've gotten are individuals that are passionate about the sport, about kids, about what we're doing. Okay. That's who donates money to the club. So I don't know how, that's just what's worked for me. Somebody that owns a business, somebody that's, passionate about it and you can see kind of the budgets that, you know, I've been writing for Outrider grant. There's a big grant, Outrider. If you guys are familiar with Outrider grant, I just been unsuccessful trying to get it. So anything else, you know, on sponsorships and money, because I'm more than happy to talk about it. But like, this is Dairy Queen, a guy I train with. He owns 2 Dairy Queens, so he donates. Hasn't donated this year. If it's in orange, it means they've paid. If they haven't, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, just real quick, Dan, you mentioned you just purchased some new uniforms because again, those don't last very long if they're raced in. So I don't see that in there. And is that all covered by your sponsors, or did you dig in your own personal savings there?
No, it was concert. So we bought those in 2023. To be quite honest, we should get them. So that was in last year's budget. So it was in the budget. We had the money left over. We had some money left over last year, and we accumulated. So we actually went into negative in 2023. So I covered it for a while, but then, you know, we'll replenish it. We don't buy uniforms every year. I mean, uniforms do last for a while. So uniforms are like in every 3-4 years, and we're not replacing all of them. We go through them, which ones, you know, we tell the kids, do not use these uniforms in chlorine, because chlorine eats them alive, to be quite honest. So, you know, every once in a while, if we're doing a race day simulation, then yes, wear them. But otherwise, Lake, we want them in uniforms, but anytime we just kind of keep the uniforms out of chlorine as much as possible. Okay. Other questions? What about sponsorships? Is anybody else being successful with sponsors or tried? I mean, it does work. We just got to find the right individuals. And I would say some of the right individuals, if, you know, somebody that owns a business that is doing triathlons, you know, those types of individuals are ideal.
Just curiosity, Dan, are you just using the single flyer that you created, or do you have like a template letter that you're using that you're willing to kind of share with the team?
You guys, you're teaming me up. I'm going to show it to you here in a moment. Okay. And here's our sponsors for this year. I mean, it's usually the same, just FYI, they're on our website. Here's my deal. People give us money less than 1,000, and that's fine. It's a donation. If they give 1,000 or more, it's they get the website. We put their name on our jerseys, our uniforms. They get some more marketing out of it. So that's just we just randomly use $1,000. So, one thing, and I'll answer your question. We do have a parents meeting at the kickoff, and this is just, I'm so adamant about this. I want parents involved. I want as many parents to be at as many events and participate as much as they want to, and they want to participate. I encourage it. However, a parent is not allowed to talk to their kids at any training session. So they're not allowed to even acknowledge them there. They can help all the other kids, they can't. These kids are in high school. They don't want their parents nagging them. So I've seen it happen once early when I started this program. One parent was there. All he was doing was focusing on his kids. I'm like, back off of them. So that I lay that out pretty early. They can help out. They just can't talk to their kid during training. I would highly encourage everyone to do that as well. The kids will be happier. Okay. Any questions there? Anybody agree or disagree? Please share. Okay, when you team me up, here's the sponsorship. So I do have a letter, but this kind of shows, you know, why sponsor the club. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit, so that makes it a little easier unless you are for profit. Why kids are leaving programs, and so this is what we submit to people to do that. You know, help this out. We've got a different flyer every year. This was this year, I think, and this here, I think, is one last year about, you know, selling. I think this is it. I think we're a couple minutes over, but this was, you know, this is what's selling a 501c3. You know, this is some of the reasons, some of the justifications for sponsoring the club. But we do promote that. I encourage. Now, some parents. Now, I will share this. We'll go back one. Some parents that work for corporations, if you're an employee of a corporation, you're there and you go and get money from them, that has worked too. We've gotten a lot of donations through a parent employer will donate to a club if an employee requests it. Me going outside of it, there has not been successful. Okay. And the only other last thing I got, and I think I'm good unless I'll take as many questions. When we train, it's not about numbers because we have such a wide variety of kids. So anytime anybody trains, it's about time. So when we go and do bike rides, we go to parks, we'll do a big loop around a park. And some kids may do 8, 9, 10 loops. Some kids may do 3, 4. That's fine. But we rode for an hour or whatever it might be. Swimming, we swim for so long, but not, okay, you got to do this much distance. And we do core, okay, it's about, okay, we're doing this for 30 seconds, not you got to do 10 push-ups. So just otherwise you embarrass kids. They can't get them all in or kids are waiting for that. So it's all about time, not by distance. So that's one thing that all of our coaches have followed in the part of their training. So questions, Tim, Chad, anything else you have or anybody else have any questions? I got nothing to hide here. And if any.
Yep. So 501c3, you have a board. Are you like an executive director? How's it structured?
I am, and we're official. And I am there, and we have a board on there. It's usually some of the other coaches I put on there. You have to have a secretary. So to be a 501c3, you have to be an LLC. I set the company up originally as an LLC, and you can't be a 501c3 as an LLC. And this is going back 15 years ago. So then I had to move it to a corporation. So that was my own oops, not knowing what I was doing. But yes, there are some formalities there, but it's
990s every year, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, but it's the process took me, I think, 2 years. I mean, it took a while, but after we got it, it's been simple and easy. But the process, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while to get your the 501c3 status.
You find that it has an influence on people when they like to see a nonprofit. Oh, it's a good cause, and and then they can maybe do a tax deduction, things like that. Does that help?
Hey, to be quite honest, very few people take the tax deduction. Some do, and some sponsorships or some people donate some bikes, and I'll write them a letter and give them credit for it. And I'll give them a dollar value, and I'll send them a note from the high school TriClub for their donation from a 501c3. But I mean, in the 15 years we've been running this program, I've probably sent out maybe 10 of those. Most people don't even, they just feel good about the organization and that we are a 501c3. They really care.
Now, you volunteer, or you paid, or you have a job yourself, separate thing, or how do you?
Yeah. No, none of the coaches take any money. So I do this pure volunteer. I'm an electrical engineer. I'm in the business world. I'm in the engineering world. This is not my gig. I mean, I don't, not like a high school coach or anything like that. I just do this. I saw a need, and it was kind of put on my heart to do this. At that, as you said, when I was doing the bike MS with my son and saw those kids, and it just seemed like a thing, and just kind of kept going. Trust me, my wife would love for me to give this up. It takes a lot of time. She's offered that. How long are you going to do this? That's like, because our kids have been out for many, many years. So my kids were out after the first 5 years, I guess. So
hey, Dan,
anyway,
don't give it up, Dan, please.
Okay. Well, you might have to convince my wife of that. But the thing is, I got 2 grandkids now, and the 6-year-old grandkid is saying he wants to do a triathlon. So I might have a new generation coming. So that might keep me in the program.
That'd be good.
But
any questions, you guys?
Yeah, but hey, but I do have now a lot of support from coaches and help. There's a lot of people to pull this thing off. So it isn't Dan doing this solo anymore at all, like it was 10, 15 years ago. I mean, one lady takes care of the uniforms, another lady takes care of the registration fees. And we got coaches like Katie and Josh on the phone here. All this makes my life much easier.
When we talk about talent scouts, we talk about club leads, we talk about how you develop your team. That's exactly what we're talking about, what Dan just mentioned, you guys, where it's really key that one person doesn't have to spend all the time doing everything, because I think you're going to see burnout. You're going to see things go south because they just don't have the investment of time they can ultimately make after a couple of years. So Dan, you've done an incredible job with this and this build, and certainly having a qualified group of people to help, and you've got great mentors, the kids graduate from the program coming back, says you're doing things the right way. And it's a really incredible model for, I think, all of us to take a look at it and to say, what parts of this can we use for ourselves? Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And high school TriClub, you send an email to that. If any got any questions, want to reach out to me, it comes to me. So you don't have to, this isn't like the end if you want to continue conversation, because I want to see this expand. I want our club to expand. I've often thought about going to Kansas City or high school TriClub, branch there, or going. We tried last year to create one in Illinois. We had a lady who was going to do it, and she was going to set it up. Okay, great. We're going to start up a franchise in Illinois. And then she took a new job and her mom got sick and she quit. So I was like, okay, that fell apart really quick.
Hey, Dan, just so you know, there is a brand new, amazing facility being built in Kansas City. If you wanted to expand into Kansas City, we could put you in touch with the person that's building that program, and he can learn a lot from you and how you structure this. And the best part about it, it's his facility. He wouldn't have to charge.
Oh, wow.
Types of workouts and the swim sessions and stuff like that too. So it could be a really good extension of what you're doing with a slightly different model because of that.
Well, I would love to, because we got the platform here. We got the website. If you go on the website, by the way, there's 2 videos out there. One, the local radio or news station did, but watch the video. The kids put this together probably 10 years ago. They put their own video together, but there's 2 out there. But Tim, I would love to, because the platform is here, the platform is set. We just need to expand it. Use the same website, use everything. But if we can, if we could grow into Kansas City, man, I just choose Kansas City because it's relatively close. But I'll go. I would love to see I'm a huge supporter because I've seen these kids. I've seen kids over and over and over that have zero athleticism, and they do a triathlon, and where then. This one kid we have in the program right now, 2 years ago, he quit during this first race. Quit. He was just mad and didn't want to do it. He was shy and just was embarrassed. It was cold. And he was going to quit the program. He came back. He kept going. Now he's one of our top athletes. Now I've seen these kids that in freshmen, they didn't do anything. And some of these kids now are on the swim team in high school in their junior and senior year. He joined the cross country team this year. And I just seen the model work over. That's why I continue to do it. I've seen it work. It's got to get these kids motivated and get them across the finish line once, and they can. And when they cross that, even if they come in last place, I guess I should mention, I make the kid that wins the triathlon, gets no accolades. We don't promote. I don't care who gets the medals. We don't promote that. We don't acknowledge it. They get it. They do it themselves. But we promote the kid that barely crossed the finish line and getting them across. So that's our focus. But seeing these kids cross the finish line for the first time and see what it turns them into, it's been phenomenal. It's staggering to me. Yeah.
It's Josh. Hey, one of the greatest things that I think we see, and probably one of the biggest draws for us as far as attention and kids, is how our entire team stays until the last person comes across and runs them in, and the loud cheers, and whoever it happens to be is coming in last. They're coming in like a rock star, and everybody's cheering for him. Not very many people are cheering for the first place kid, but everybody's cheering for the last place kid.
So thanks for bringing that up, Jess. So you can imagine, so our last kid, whoever it is, the other kids get behind him. And so we got like 30 or 40 kids all in orange crossing the finish line with this kid that came in, that's in last place in our group, crossing the finish line, and you got this massive amount of orange supporting them from behind. And that just, obviously all the fans go crazy. Everybody goes nuts. It's great. And it motivates that kid.
Dan, it's a great picture of what you've developed for high school TriClub, is that we take anybody in and we're going to support you whether you're fast or not, right? We're going to take you from wherever you are, and we're going to support you to do something that's hard for you, but we're going to do it. We're going to laugh, and we're going to, support you through all the bad times too. So even if it's hard, it's okay. You got a whole group of friends behind you. And a lot of these kids, you can tell, maybe don't have a huge friend group when they show up, but by the time they finish TriClub, they do. They have a big group behind them.
Thanks, Josh.
And Dan, this is a standalone or organization? It's not connected to an adult TriClub or anything, right?
Correct. We're 100% our own.
Okay. Any of them on training plans or anything, or is it all just more skills and you're coaching in that perspective, or just the skills workouts, but nothing, no kids are on a training plan or?
They did. I give them, so the training plan is here, but I give them at the beginning, I gave them just Sunday. As a matter of fact, I gave them an 8-week training program. This is to get us, we're right at 8 weeks. So I expect them to follow that. We don't do a lot of running in the group because they can run on their own, and swim and bike, right now it's a little tough. And I guess I should mention, yes, so they do get a program. So there's an 8-week program that they need to kind of get these types of runs and miles and this distance in over the course of the week, and it breaks it out. So they do get something like that, but then they use this program here to follow it. The other thing I should mention is that, so we're only in the pool, we're in the Y for March and April, like I mentioned. As soon as May hits, in May and June, we're outside. So we're out at a lake, we're swimming a lake that I live on. And so the nice thing is we get that, we just go in there and swim for free. And then we bike and we run out of there. We used to bike a lot farther, but because of the dangers of bicycling on the roads these days, we stay pretty close, and we bike around the lake, and we're pretty careful. We have parents driving cars just, with flashers on. But then we're all outside in the lake. We have kayakers out there. We have parents, and a bunch of kayakers and swimmers, so everything's safe. All the kids swim with a swim buoy. I mean, that wasn't the beginning. That's how it is today. We didn't start out that way, for the record, but that's what it's evolved to today. And the same thing, we Sundays is our big day, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll still do bike sessions and run sessions. Wednesdays we cancel if they want to go out to that time trial thing I showed you. But then during the summer for May and June, we do Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Other questions?
Are there any other questions? Dan, I do have one question. How many kids has the club seen over since the beginning in 2010?
Oh, God.
Do you have that number? Do you have an estimate? How many lives have been impacted?
Oh, well, I'd say on average, we've probably averaged 35. I mean, we started out kind of small, we started first year with 9, and then we stay in the teens, and now we're using the 40s or 50s. I don't know, but then they're there for 4 years or 3 years. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
That's fair. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Dan. This is you have an amazing program, and I know I learn a lot anytime I hear you speak. I've had a few of these conversations, I feel like. We will take this recording and we'll post it onto YouTube, which we can then use as a shareable link that we can post on our website. And we'll include your contact information as well, if that's okay for the HSTriClub.